Hello, we're back in the studio for week 4 of the Contemplating Lent series because I want to talk about this piece behind me, which I made as part of an exhibition at Minster called Crucifixion Now, Resurrection Now. And the idea was that it was going to be a piece of work that would work in 2 parts, one looking at the crucifixion and the other at resurrection. We start with the work in its closed state. The cross on the front has been made from salvaged wood from a stonemason's yard at a cathedral. Many cuts on the wood were made by a vast bandsaw that shaped the large blocks of stone used in the yard. I've used this wood in other projects based on the cross because of the symbolism of suffering. We're shaped by our wounds, as the wounds of Christ have reshaped our world. The 2 textured lines running vertically down are made from volcanic sand collected when I visited Iceland. Their natural blackness is emphasised by the addition of carbon black pigment, and to me, they represent the wounds in Christ's hands, which are almost splitting the surface apart. And running horizontally across the front of the piece are broken red lines, which seem to imply both location, so the hills of Golgotha, but also the blood flowing down and soaking into the earth. That blood-like quality is really emphasised at the bottom, where the broken edge becomes much more wound-like. It's quite uncomfortable to look at. And then there's this mysterious fissure running through the centre of the cross. It's deep in shadow, and it seems to imply that something lies within. As the outer doors open, they reveal a completely different vision. Now we see a radiant and glowing centre, rich with golds and royal purples. Still around the edges are that same roughness and irregularity, and at the base we still see hints of the scarlet, but the atmosphere is so different. At the centre, I've used a piece of pierced, aged metal. It sort of represents the 3-in-oneness of God's life. I gilded this, and I used an abalone metal leaf behind it to give a sense of mystery, sort of otherworldliness. Radiating God's glory out from the centre, the colour moves from soft golds through to the outermost edge of purple. The whole surface shimmers with an iridescence. Beyond the circle, the back and the outer panels pick up the palette and flow through blues and reds to the deepest purple at the edges, the colour of majesty, also, of course, of suffering. The deepest spur of red, right at the centre on the bottom edge of this work, and previously hidden behind the outer doors, it's now fully revealed. It's like an arrowhead, piercing our world with God's compassion. Incidentally, I took care to think about every element of this work. Doors need hinges, but I needed these hinges to feel absolutely part of the design rather than simply functional. They've been treated with texture and colour to become a part of the whole, so that nothing interrupts the rhythm of the work. Ours is a compassionate God, a God who's lived through suffering and death, who comes alongside us to share our pain, but who rises triumphantly and gloriously